What is up guys, I'm back with another video. This time I'm gonna take you through a track idea that I made recently. It's more in like a style of a Sad Mabel AJ Tracey type UK garage beat. And this is just gonna be like a more raw format. So I'm just gonna take you through everything that I did. So hopefully you can learn something from this video. Okay, so enough talking, let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so I'm just gonna play you the drop so you get an idea of what the beat idea sounds like. Okay, so a pretty like cozy, chill vibe. So let's start by just looking at the drums only. So these are the drums. Like really basic drums. I don't did like a lot of processing on these drums. I think only just some EQ and some leveling. So let's just start looking at the kick drum pattern. So the kick is like this standard UK garage two-step pattern. And then you have the hi-hats. So you have like an offbeat hi-hat here, and then you have some like one hits hi-hats here, and then something that adds like a groove. And my hi-hats are actually done in a plugin called Battery from Native Instruments. So it's a collection of a lot of hi-hat one-shots. And I think there is an instance in FL Studio called FPC where you can do the same thing. But for me, this is just a fast way to do like a really cool pattern for hi-hats. And the same thing for the claps is also in Battery. And the claps are not like on the 2 and 4th. They are actually just doing some rhythmic stuff. So take a listen. And you know, with UK Garage, it's all about like that rhythm the drums drive. So I just use the claps to do like more like rhythmic stuff. And then I have like this rim shot thing. I'm gonna go back to the snare really quickly. This is like the main thing driving the rhythm. And then the snares it's the same pattern, but just to layer up the rim shot, because I thought it lacked a little bit of like punch. So again, it doesn't have to be really complicated to get like a really good groove, because I found out with this track, I don't even think I had reverb on the drum elements, because I don't think that they needed it. I just wanted like that raw sound to it, a little bit of dryness to it. And then the perks are also in Battery, and it's a collection of small one-shots, small bits, just to add a little bit more of character to the drum groove. I think this is like I think it's called a vibra slap, this one here. And then you have like, I don't know what to call it, like a small perk thing, really like snappy. And then this is some kind of like a finger snap thing. But it works. And then the last part of the drum groove is these fills. And they are actually samples from an upcoming pack with a lot of house drum fills. and you can actually download this on my web shop in the future. The reason why I made this pack is mainly also for myself to have like a lot of drum fills, because I hate to do them in the project by myself. So I just want to have like a folder with a lot of cool creative drum fills that I can just drag into the project and then move on. So yeah, that's the story behind this upcoming sample pack. So this is for the drums. So for this track, the main thing is the chords. And the chords are right here. Let's just solo these. And in UK Garage, you tend to hear a lot of these electronic pianos, like Rhodes emulated plugins. And you also hear them in like MJ Cole style tracks. And I really like to add electronic pianos because they give some kind of flavor and vibe to my track. So this is the chord progression of the track idea. Like really basic and simple, but that was the vibe that I was going for this track. And then I wanted to layer this chord with like a chord layer, and it's doing like some kind of melody. So it's this sound from Serum. And I think it's like an emulation of an African instrument, like a flute, like a mallet sounding instrument, I guess. It has like some percussive elements to it, which I really like. And in terms of the melody, it's basically the same chords from the electronic piano, but I just delayed them a little bit to create like some kind of arpeggiated melody. And it kind of works, just like to do like a steady thing. Let's hear it like together with the drums. And in terms of processing, there is like to the chords, there are this plugin called Neutron from Isotope, and it's just some EQ, removing the low end and the high end, and then removing like some of the 400 hertz area just to remove a little bit of muddiness. And then this limiter is actually for sidechaining with the kick drum. So it's the kick drum, which is on channel 17, is routed to the piano, like a sidechain here. You can right click here and press this button, sidechain to this track. And then you just load up Fruity Limiter, set it to compressor mode, sidechain. I just choose the kick drum as an input level, then take down the threshold, up with the ratio, and then everything is just according to taste, like how much sidechain that you want to apply. For me, it's just like a tiny amount because it was clashing a little bit with the kick drum, and I want the kick drum to be a little bit more dominant in this track to drive the groove and the rhythm. So, and for this melody thing, there is a little bit more of processing. There is some delay from Fruity, delay free, and it's on like a third, I think it's like an eighth dotted, and then a little bit of input wet, I think around 50%. And then I turned down the wet level a little bit for the output because I don't want like to be too much, and also a little bit down with the feedback because I didn't want the delay to travel for too long and mess up with other like instruments and stuff. So I wanted like a little bit more of like a tight sound to this melody. And then my beloved RC20 plugin, which I use a little bit too much, but it's a vibe, so I just love to do it. And basically this is just to add some color. So there is like some wobble, some noise, a little bit of distortion, some reverb, and magnetic, which is something that just makes the volume duck and like tear a little bit. So it's more like it's removing like the volume sometimes, which at like some low rate. It's a little bit hard to actually explain what it does, but it sounds cool, so why even bother? And then it just removes like some of the high end and some of the low end, so it gets like a more like lo-fi sound, and I really like that. Okay, and let's move on to the next thing, which is this chord step here. This one. And I guess it's also from Serum? Yeah, it is. And again, it's your standard pluggy kind of thing, like almost like a dead mouse plug thing. But what I wanted to do here was to add some down sampling. So it's like being like a bit crushed a little bit. I don't want to go too much in detail with like the preset, like how I sculpt, like how I made the Serum patch. I have some other videos on my channel where I talk a little bit about how to create plugs and chord steps and also basses in Serum. So I think you should go watch them instead, because then this video will be too long. So this is the chord step thing, and there is some reverb and some delay in the Serum patch. I think it's actually turned off for some reason. No. There's like a macro here. So a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb, and then in FL Studio, in the mixer track, I also added this transient master just to have a little bit more of a transient, and then turned down the sustain, so the sound is being a little bit more like decayed. So the decay is turned down and it's a little bit shorter. It's the best way to explain it. And then I have a soft clipper just to make sure that there are no like harsh peaks to the sound, so they are just basically being clipped off. And for the last part is neutron again, also just removing the low end, a little bit of the top end, and again also like ducking some of these 400 hertz. So yeah. If you like the content in this video, it will mean so much to me if you will subscribe to the channel. It will help me to do even more music production and tutorial content for you in the future. So hit that small button and you will help me so much. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the video. The next part for the melody is this chord top melody. This one. And this is actually just the same electronic piano, but just playing at like higher octave. So it's the same as this. Oh, sorry, same as this. And as you can see, this is like a really simple melody. Like it's almost like the same note, but it just added like a little bit of bounce to the track. And then like the last part here. Like these small like sounds really like fill up the spectrum. So I like to use like counter melodies sometimes just to make the pattern, like the drop sound, a little bit more interesting. So if we combine like everything that we have right here, it sounds like this. So it just gives like this bounce to it. And initially it would make sense to have like a vocal on top, but I didn't have like a vocalist, so I think there is like space for it in this track. So it's more like a beat instead of like a finished track. So I think like you should add like a vocal to this to get like a really cool vibe. And then I have like an organ stab here, also from one of my sample packs. Link is in the description. And it sounds like this. And I like to add these stabs and hits at like the beginning of a pattern just to emphasize something and like that there is a change to the sound. So together with everything here, like it's really subtle, but it just adds a ton of vibe. And then I have like one last melody instrument thing, and it's just a pad. And it's just like a stuttering pad, just to also drive a little bit of rhythm. Let's see where this sound is from. It's from Massive. And it's just like evolving like with the filtering and stuff. And then I have the shaper box. So I'm using like the volume shaper component, and instead of like doing side chaining, it's stuttering instead. So it's doing like a 16. So it's just like going really fast, if you get the idea here. So like this. And together like with the chords here. Like really, really atmospheric and nice. Okay, so the next thing is the bass. And the bass sounds like this. Like really deep and like not too rhythmic, just like a simple deep bass. And it's following like the root note of the chord. And I think it's a Serum patch, yes. With like a long release, sustain, and then like the oscillator is like being modulated with an LFO, so it's a little bit more like random and organic sounding. So that's really, really nice. Let's see, like processing wise, again, I have like a limiter for sidechaining with the kick drum. Then I have like this sub filter plugin from Plugin Alliance, and basically what this does is that it boosts like the low end of the bass, because I thought it was lacking a little bit. And then neutron free, and I'm using the exciter component, and I'm splitting up the frequency, so it's not affecting like the low end of the bass, but more like from 230 hertz and upwards, and just cranking up the distortion, just to like emphasize some of the higher frequencies, so they pop out a little bit. It's more like, I think it's called harmonics, that you emphasize, but just to make sure that it's not going too widely and clashing with other stuff, for instance drums and all the other melodic components. I don't want the bass to be like too high end, so I'm doing a cut around 1000 hertz. But it's just beefing it up a little bit, and I really, really like the sound of it. And then because the patch in Serum, it had a lot of like unison, detune, and spread to the oscillators, and it can sometimes mess up the low end, so it's going a little bit too wild. So let's have a listen here. So as you can see here, it's doing like a lot of stereo information. So what I basically does was that I just took the low end, just made it completely mono, and then everything from 150 or 160 hertz, I don't touch it. So I still have like some stereo stuff going on in the bass, because it sounded nice, but I just want to make sure that it sounds nice in mono as well. And it kind of does, still has like that punch. Okay, so now this video don't have to be too long, I will just move on. So the next thing I have for, okay, wait, let's just listen to like how it sounds with everything here so far. And this one. So the bass is just sitting like completely nice underneath everything, and just having like the low end spectrum in its place, and it really, really makes sense. Okay, so this is like the first part of the drop. I will call it like part A, but I also have a part B, because I want to have like some kind of change to the drop, so something new happens. And here I actually remove some of the like chord steps here, and also like the top melody from the electronic piano. and I'm actually introducing some vocal chops because it's UK Garage. And again, I don't want to go like too much in depth with how I did this vocal chop because I have made like a lot of other videos covering like the technique. So I'm just gonna do it really quickly because otherwise this video will be even longer. So what I tend to do is I go to Splice and find vocal samples that are in the key of my track, and then I pitch them up. Okay, and this sounds horrible, and of course it has a lot of processing on it. I'll go back to it, but then I will chop it up. And there is a really cool feature in FL Studio where you go here and go to chop and complex and beat shuffle. And that's basically what I did. And then it makes like everything like random chopped, and then you can pick the pieces that make sense. And I actually have done this for, I think, 3 different vocal chops, or sorry, vocal samples. This one. Or maybe it's actually only 2, I can't remember. Okay, this one. So it sounds a little bit horrible with the vocals being pitched up just playing by its own, but if we just listen to the chop here, and just a disclaimer, there is no like secret trick to do this the right way all the time. You have to do some trial and error, and I do this all the time. Sometimes stuff works and sometimes it doesn't. So you just have to try out stuff. Let's jump quickly to the processing. So I have a delay going like 4th. I think it's on 4. I don't know what it actually means like in terms of, I think it's a 4th. Yeah. And with some feedback and a little bit of the width dialed back, just to have like it travel a lot. And then some reverb and some pre-delay because I want like the sound to come through a little bit. Then, oh, that was big. Yeah, and also a fruity EQ just to remove the low end and the high end, and a little bit of like that mid information because I just wanted the vocal chops to be like a little bit in the background of the track. And then to finish it off, sidechain volume shaver, just to dock it according to like the groove of the track. So yeah, let's try to listen to it with the rest of the track. So yeah, it's just like a small thing that just adds up to the rest of the track. So the last thing are SFX or FX. I have like this one here, which is like some texture, also from my sample pack. Like just ambient noise. And it's actually recorded at when I was on holiday at the Canary Islands, and I just wanted to like turn this into a sample pack, and it works really great to get like an atmosphere and a vibe to the track. And then I have like a simple crash. I have like a simple sweep into the crash. Then I have like a simple transition, mainly for like breakdowns and stuff. Then I have like an uplifter here, and then like another uplifter. Yes, and then I actually have like some small bits here, like this one. Yeah, also like going into the drop. And then I have like a bigger riser, just this is for every drop, so you really like feel the tension. It's like panning. So I think this is actually it for, I think it's all the elements actually. The last one I have is actually, when I look at it in the beginning, in the intro, I have this vocal ambience thing. And it's actually just the pattern of the vocal chops. Then I turned it into audio, and in FL Studio you can click on the sample, right click here in the sampler, edit it in audio editor, then you can go, then you open up Edison, and then you can press this button here called blur and press accept, and it basically makes like a more like a pad blur sound out of the audio. So yeah, that's basically what I did. So you have this here. Okay, so the last thing I will just talk about is the arrangement, the structure of this beat. So I have an intro until here, then I have like a drop here, and then I have a part B of the drop here, and then here is like a breakdown, and then you have like a kind of a build-up where you can see like I added the hi-hats. This is like a low cut to cut away like the drums. So they are slowly being introduced into the build-up. Then you have, of course, have drop number 2 here. And also doing the same thing like with the part A and the part B. And here I have like a, I think it's called a bridge, where I just take out everything, all the drums, and I only have like the pad, the main chords, and like some melody playing. In the third drop, I have like everything playing for both like the A part is like being 2 parts. So everything is in, and then I'm just building it downwards afterwards, like an outro. Okay, and so actually one tip that I wanted to share with you in terms of arrangement, like this automation clip up here is actually docking the master volume a little bit before the drop. And I do this, I think, in all my productions, but and it gives a little bit of impact to the drop. So. Okay guys, that's it for this video. This video was a little bit different from my other videos. I just wanted to like press the record button and just talk about my production, and I hope it made sense for you guys and you learned something from going through this beat idea. If you liked the video, it would mean so much to me if you will smash that like button or even subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me even further, I have of course some sample packs and presets on my web shop, and you can find them in the link in the description down below. So I hope to see you in the next video. Take care, peace.